Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of Maximum Octane. We apologize for Jason and myself. Our voices are going as the days go on, and we are still in sunny Orlando. Yeah. I can't say warm and sunny because
it is cold.
It has not been, but it is
warm
sunny.
It was warm yesterday.
Okay, it doesn't count for you guys. You guys are from Wisconsin.
Oh, it was nice.
Yes, Wisconsin
nice.
Warm, and the rest of the world
Right.
warm
It's
are
70 there today.
I
two
dare to say it was
different
hot
things.
yesterday.
Hot. It was hot yesterday. What?
It was too cold to do the morning stretch, and you're hot. But we are here from in Orlando at the Hyatt Regency. We're still doing live podcasts from Super Conference, and we are really excited today to have this panel with us. And this is probably a little bit more people than we normally have, and so it makes it fun, a different dynamic. But we have with us somebody that's been on our podcast before, Mr. Dan Garlock from Silverlake Auto and Tire Centers, and we're happy to have some fresh faces with us, which happen to be Dan's sons. We have Noah and Luke, and we are going to talk a little bit about family business, and we love that.
Scary.
Scary
stuff.
Scary stuff. Jason.
You know what I'm most excited about?
What?
Now, whatever references that you bring up, guess who else is not going to know those references?
Oh my gosh.
This is exciting. This is the first time in a while that I can be in the middle.
My pop culture.
Is that his kryptonite?
Yeah,
Pop
so
culture?
my pop culture, any
It is.
reference I explain it, and then he tells me that's not a thing, and he Googles it. We talk about it all the time on the podcast. I have a fact checker with me
Hey,
24/7,
look
so
at that.
it's good because I know I'm still saying things that are true because he would let me know. So
Nice.
There we go.
it works out there. So John Taffer, I don't know why, I love John Taffer.
He's a red napkin guy.
He's the red napkin
Yeah,
guy.
with the restaurants,
Yes.
Bar Rescue. Is that him?
Yeah.
He's
And
bar,
Bar Rescue.
he's bar rescue, and he's just I think.
Do you guys know who John Taffer is?
No, I've
there
heard
we go. Yes.
So now we have the Jedi Yoda here, the older.
Oh man.
So look up John Tapp, but honestly, he has wonderful, especially if you're coming into the family business, you should be watching that because he works with a lot of families and businesses that are not being run well because
They're not
they're
going to like his
family.
style.
Well,
They're not going to
You don't need to like it to learn something from it, though,
yeah.
right?
Well, that's true.
Don't close your mind because you don't like his style. You just be quiet. Nobody has to. We're talking to your sons here. So this is what happens exactly with a family generational thing. We're
do it.
giving new information to open up the minds of Noah and Luke. And Dan's like, nah, they're not going to like it. We don't do that here. We don't do that at
Bar
Silverlake.
rescue, that's all fake.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
anyway, he's got some great stuff in there, but he has a book called Raising the Bar that if you are an entrepreneur and any business owner, I highly recommend that you read it because it has a lot of wonderful business ideas in there. And his whole thing is about we're in the business, whatever you're doing, of customer reactions. We're selling customer reaction.
Oh.
And whether you're repairing vehicles to do it, whether you're serving food to do it, it's he calls it the vehicle in which you're getting the customer reaction. So for an example, with his stuff in the book, he talks about if you're on your phone or you're chatting with your family or whoever, and someone puts a plate in front of you, if you don't stop and say, wow, they failed because they didn't secure the customer reaction. The other thing that he talks about in there is about family and how people say our business like a family and family owned. And we treat people like family. And he
Right.
says, why in the heck would you want to do that? Families are dysfunctional, right? And they don't get along sometimes and they have different things and there's not true lanes in a family of, a lot of times. And so there's this concept of running your business like a family or family things that you still need guidelines. You still need things in there. And it's a false sense of security. Just think I'm hiring my son, my daughter, my brother, my parents, that they're just going to come in and do this amazing job because they're family and they're going to be able to read your mind and know exactly what you want because they're family.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I do want to give a little bit of background. So which one of you is older?
It's me.
Okay, by how much?
2 years.
2 years, so you're
I'm 19 right
19
now.
and you're 17.
Yeah.
And how long?
I'm actually older.
Are you the older out of you and your brother?
Yeah.
Are you
So
really?
wait. Before we get to them, let's start with the generation up.
Let's do it.
You're start with the beginning because this is third generation.
Yeah, so my dad, Wally, started the business in 1973. It's 2 Bay Shell gas station. He stayed in that for a long time. In the late 80s, he opened up a second gas station, failed miserably, ended up driving him to bankruptcy, and he kept the one gas station. Had to get out of gasoline business, went into the independent auto repair. So we went into that in 91, I think it was, 91, 92. And it's our current location in Oconomowoc now. When I got out of high school, I started working for my dad in 93, that summer of 93. And then my brother Darren came shortly after that. So we've been working for my dad, since the 90s. In 2015, my dad retired when Darren and I bought him out completely. We had some ownership at that point in time. But in 2015, we bought him out completely. He retired, and Darren and I have been co-owners since then. So we're getting to this spot now. We're getting ready for the third generation and preparing the business and preparing them for the challenges of, here, I remember my dad always saying second generation businesses fail at a super high rate. And I was like, okay, challenge accepted. Yeah. Well, and Darren and I laugh about it. We always say we had some daddy issues. My parents were divorced and we didn't see my dad a lot, because we were with my mom. So we always wanted to win his favor, and we had some daddy issues. That was kind of what drove us into the business to begin with. It's not what kept us there and not made us successful, but I do remember it was one of those statements that echoes in my head from my dad was second generation businesses fail all the time. So I was like, all right, let's go. We'll figure this out. And, I was looking up some of the stats on third generation businesses. And it doesn't get any better. So it's 90% of third generation businesses fail. So right now, the next, we've been preparing, softly because we don't want to just say, well, you're a Garlock, you have to be in the family business.
Of course.
They get to decide. They get to decide what they want to do. They get to try some things on. But over the last couple of years, you guys have gotten an opportunity to try some different roles. Luke's done some technician stuff. Noah's sat from, you can talk about what you've all done. But we exposed them to the business because it's not just auto repair anymore. And, when they were growing up, they thought, that was all that there was. They had to fix cars, right? No, not anymore. The business is very different than what I came into. I had to fix cars. Yeah. So did Darren. But so we've been spending a lot of time exposing them to that and doing some other things too. But now they get to make some decisions on. They will be owners of Silverlake Auto. That's coming with the last name, but that doesn't mean that they're going to have roles in the business. So now they're working on what roles they want to have in the business.
So the legacy is inherited, but maybe the job is not.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's for a moment though. Your dad, you and your brother were taking over. What are some of the things that you wish you would have had in place, or so from your dad? Because in the 90s, I'm assuming that there was not the business planning that we have today, and the coaching, and that people know how to transition.
There was no AI either.
Definitely not. I wasn't AI.
He slipped it in.
I slipped it in.
He got it in there.
So what were some of the things? Oh my gosh. None of us had any traditional business education. We were auto mechanics. We were trained auto mechanics and had to figure out the business side of the company. So my dad went to one of the ATI Chubby boot camps early on. He came back and he says, I signed us up. I'm like, Dad, we don't need that. I was probably his age. We don't need that. I know about cars. I know how to sell. And I was so wrong. We've been with ATI pretty much since then, but we had no business training at all. We just knew how to take care of customers and what that felt like. My dad did go through bankruptcy and struggled to make payroll a lot through the 90s and early 2000s.
So did that discourage? I mean, that was your model, right? So did that ever make you and your brother say, I don't know if I want to take this on. Like this does not seem like a great life for me.
No, we were pot committed, I think, at that point in time. We didn't know what else we were going to do. I was not a great high school student. I got out of high school. I'm like, okay, now what? I graduated and my dad says, I'll see you at work on Monday. And I'm like, well, okay. So I should go get automotive training, right? And he's like, well, haven't you done anything on that? I'm like, no. So I missed the whole first semester of automotive technology at the local technical college. I couldn't get in because the enrollment was full, so I just went and started working.
So your dad, just your dad assumed that you were going to be working there and that you would have known to go and enroll yourself in classes and had already started the ball.
You know, that would be an interesting question for if he ever comes on. Like, what were you thinking with your kids? But you know, my dad was also a police officer, a part-time police officer, and I watched him go through the challenges of the business. He went through bankruptcy. He worked long hours. He worked 2 jobs. And if we're talking to him now, like, why didn't you just go and just, you know, do the police thing or do whatever you want to do? Because he wanted us to be a part of the business. He wanted it more than we wanted it. So in his mind, I would have to imagine, you know, we've talked about it. That was what was going to happen. You guys are going to come work in the business. And
you just said something that I just want to make sure that he at the time wanted it for you more than you guys wanted it. And that obviously switched, but so many times we talk to business owners and we're like, what's your plan when my kids are going to take over, or I have a service advisor that's amazing, I'm going to hand them the business or whatever. And we say, well, what are their thoughts? And they're like, what do you mean? And we're like, did you say to them this is, and they're like, well, no, who wouldn't want a business handed to them? It's like a lot of people, they don't. So you two have a very different view of watching your father run a business because he's very successful and dynamic and, you know, all about training and culture, and which we did not have in the 90s working anywhere. Nobody cared about culture. It was my way or the highway and that. So for you, you're not watching someone having a miserable life and going through bankruptcy and working 5 jobs and missing all of your events. So is it more appealing to the two of you now to say, I would like to emulate that life, I would like to take this over?
Yes, I definitely think it looks very appealing from where I'm at right now. I mean, we get to go on trips like this all the time. Like it's a successful company, it does well. And so I think seeing all this success makes me go, I'd be stupid not to go into this. And so that's kind of informed a lot of my recent decisions, especially going into college. Like I'm going for accounting, so I can bring that back and do accounting and do more financial stuff in the shop, which is not something you would have had access with because it was more auto-focused. Now it's it's this full business that you've really got to be angling on from all sides.
Absolutely love it. What about you?
Yeah, so I think that it's such a good opportunity, and I think that success comes majorly
It's not a word.
Mostly from opportunities. So that makes it very appealing to me. Is just that I have such a clear path in front of me, and just makes it an obvious choice.
So here's another question to both of you guys. Has there been anything outlined to either one of you as here are the career paths that are available?
No, I wouldn't say. I think Dad's done a very good job of not making us feel like we have to come into the company.
Right.
And so
whatever, we don't have to blow smoke.
Yeah.
Get us the nitty gritty. Just
They
kidding.
want to go shopping after this.
Like, we got to get out of here and go shopping, lady. Stop talking.
No, but like my first job wasn't at the shop. I was coming out of like grade school. I worked at a fast food restaurant at Culver's. I don't know if
We have Culver's. We just got a Culver's.
I love
the
Culver's.
cheese curds.
I love Culver's, but please, I hope everybody heard that. If you have a family member in the business, make them go work somewhere else first.
Yep.
Don't let your family business be the first and only job that they've ever had, because they don't understand what it's like out in the kind of the real world and some of the pitfalls. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I spent a year and a half at Culver's, and it's demanding. It's fast food, it's customer service. You come back tired. And so eventually I decided, let's go into the company business. I think that makes more sense for me. There's more opportunity there, and I could be able to grow faster.
So to clarify, there weren't like, here are the career paths that are available.
So what are the positions available at the company, Silverlake?
I mean, for me, I'm like, what I do is kind of all over the place. Like I do a lot of training with the service advisors, kind of getting into that role.
So there's a service advisor role. What other roles are there?
I do concierge, so it's like driving the customers around. Like,
so there's a concierge role.
Yeah, washing and all that. And then there's more. This summer the plan is I'll be doing more administrative stuff.
Okay.
So getting into the administration, looking at like more
so
financial
admin's
stuff,
another
working
role.
in like our accounting department. And then there's of course the technician role, which I'm not personally inclined to, but
Right. Well, I mean, because here's the challenge that I see a lot of, right, is when we're looking at traditional roles that are available, and I think you guys have the ability and you guys have the outlook that your dad and his brother didn't have, and your grandfather didn't have as well. because you can pretty much create an entire new role if you wanted to in the business, right? And I think you guys have a new lens that you can see everything from. You guys know about AI, understand AI. You're seeing all of the transparency and all the stuff that you're seeing on social media, not from automotive. You guys get on TikTok every now and then before?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram.
Instagram,
Yeah.
TikTok, you as well, right?
You're just supposed to say the IG.
No. We're not that. I'm not that old, Kim. Now, with that being said, though, you're seeing all the stuff that's going on in the world. You're seeing all of the different types of businesses. You see what's possible out there. And I think that brings a whole different perspective because, like it or not, you've got some pull,
Yep.
right? Because you've got an edge that other people that work for the organization probably won't. So you guys can pretty much trailblaze here, create new things, try new things. I
And
think that's
hopefully
good.
your dad will make you build a business case and show
Of
the
course.
profitability and the ROI.
I mean, we're a
for it.
little ways away
Of course.
from that. Yeah,
But wait.
but I think it's important right now that I think you guys are on the right track. They need to be exposed to the business, all the
100%.
facets of
Right.
the business, so they better understand that, so that they can get a feel for what it is that we do and where their part might fit, and start
Exactly.
finding that passion inside of it. Because for him, it's not technician. Luke,
I want
thought
to,
it
yeah,
was.
I want to talk to Luke
Yeah.
for a minute. What are the things that you're seeing there? What is your, when you say I'm going to go and work there, what do you have envisioned?
I'm working towards the managerial side, so like COO type of thing.
You're going right to the top.
There we go.
You
That's what we want.
are my spirit animal. You go.
Yeah. I'm not very good talking to new people, but it's something I've been working on.
You
So
have
I'm
a
hoping-
voice of an angel,
I
and you
agree.
are not.
That's why we wanted you to sing.
Yeah, give us some sense. Give us some
I'm
thought.
gonna
Can you send me one of the links to that I could put in the comments for people to listen to? I mean, honestly, you sing like an angel.
We'll
Like
create a YouTube channel.
you
There
sing
we
like
go.
an angel.
But as you're saying, COO is kind of where you want to be at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah.
And right now, where are you starting?
Singing COO.
That could be his YouTube channel name.
All right, so in this scenario where you're the COO, who's the CEO?
I think that role would be shared between me and Noah, and then Noah could be the CFO. Would make sense. 'cause
So
he's
you're going to
through
be
accounting right now.
co-CEOs, and then you're going to be a CFO, and you're going to be the singing COO.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
A lot of education's got to happen yet.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, that's a good 20, 30
At the
years
end.
out.
Right. Well, look, it doesn't have to be, right? This is why I mean,
But poor Luke, let him finish.
I know,
he's
that's why
scared.
I wanna
That's
get
why
back
he
to
doesn't
that.
want to talk to people because
what,
we all cut
right?
him off.
Where are you starting at now? What have you been exposed to, and what roles do you see yourself at before you get to that level?
So I've only ever worked at Silverlake Auto. I started.
Hey, you need to go get another coach.
I started like janitorial, washing cars, and then I moved to assistant technician. Stopped doing that. I did, and then over winter break, I was doing some. I forgot what it was called, which were you know what it was.
Paint correction
I
people.
don't
No,
know.
well, yeah, I've been.
Yeah.
I did start my own thing. I was over the summer. I've been detailing cars.
That's great.
So that's been nice. Haven't had any customers other than people I know though.
That's
The marketing,
that's
the marketing
starting.
plan
It's
is
fine.
not good.
No, but yeah. And then I was talking to my dad for this summer. It's going to be more of a service advisor kind
Okay.
of thing that I'm doing, talking to customers.
So you're
getting to that.
basically interning right now,
Yeah.
doing different positions. So
Yeah.
are you getting paid for these things when you dabble for the week? How is that working?
Well, we're in Orlando, and they have yet to bring their credit card out.
Well, that doesn't count.
Oh,
We're-
I spent
that
$6
doesn't count.
yesterday.
He bought a chocolate covered banana yesterday.
I spent
at Disney.
$6 yesterday.
Yeah, that's work related.
You spent $6?
Yeah, I
All
spent
right.
$6.
All right.
Big spender.
No, you guys get paid. They There you go.
Coming from you, of course they get paid. No, but I think this is a very, very good way to start, right? I mean, you're exploring things to do on your own as well.
Yeah.
Because I think that's going to give you a whole different perspective than working in a already structured, very well structured, in fact, business, right? And then there's so many opportunities, like we said. You can pretty much trailblaze your own path, but you're not going to be able to find that path unless you're exposed to everything that the business is currently doing.
And you're not going to be able to appreciate what Silverlake has to offer you until you really are outside in the,
Right.
in the real world and
Yeah.
seeing what's out there. Because there are horrible places to work, horrible companies. There's dead end jobs.
You got a bit of that
There's
perspective.
right
through
at
that.
Culver. So it's so important for that to do it.
I do want to ask a question because it's not all rainbows and sunshine, right? I mean, there's
What?
Yeah, it's not. Is
What?
that a saying?
I know
Yeah.
that.
Look at that.
That's totally fair.
But it is.
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's not because look,
If you wear a flower hat, it is.
I
what are you
guess,
talking
or
about?
was it rose-colored glasses?
Rose-colored
Yeah, look like
glasses.
it.
Artificial harmony.
There we go.
Yeah.
Artificial what?
Harmony.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
No, I
that's-
thought you were going somewhere else with that. But either way, right? So this is one of those things where
Have you been checked?
I have not.
Okay.
So, and this is my 4th cup of coffee. So I don't know what's going on
It's
here.
like 6 summers.
Right. So here's where we're at, right? This is obviously you see all the opportunity that's there, but you also see some of the challenges. So I'm a coach here at ATI. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with what I do, but I've worked with
I don't
a lot
think
of.
they care what we do.
That's fine, right? So I work with a lot of father and son combos, right? So
Pretty true.
Let's
right?
be honest.
Well, they're not at the Silverlake level, but there's a lot of still very similar struggles, especially if the father is still a part of the business in whatever capacity. Do you feel like there's any pressure at the moment, or has there been any pressure as far as living up to expectations or anything like that so far? I'm going to ask you both this, but I'll start here.
So yeah, I think there's a healthy amount of pressure. I think no pressure is just gonna.
What is healthy? What does that mean to you?
Right.
That's a great
It's like-
buzzword. I can tell you
I
that in
think-
college.
I
Let
think
me unpack that.
a healthy amount of pressure is just enough to make you like slightly uncomfortable.
Okay.
And,
'cause I think,
what is that specific pressure, though?
I think it mostly comes in like the expectations at work, like how much am I putting in, how much time am I devoting to this, like with setting my schedule. I think just trying
So
to push
from-
myself to
from
keep learning
Dan?
from it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's, I get this. I do get some pressure, and it's not like this unbearable amount, but it's enough to keep growing and keep learning about the business, so that I'll be able to do well when I eventually make it up into the business.
Can you handle more?
I mean, yeah, always.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about you?
Yeah, I think also it's a good amount of pressure, not just from my dad, but also from people inside the organization.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, and that's where I was going to ask next.
I know that's where
Yeah.
you were going with this.
yeah. For example, I keep forgetting things today.
It's all good.
Sorry, someone.
Yeah, Jacob Penner, he does it really well.
He's an assistant manager.
Assistant
manager.
Okay.
Performance.
Yeah.
And what kind of pressure do you get from him?
Well, I worked with him. We have a rack attack. It's
Yep.
called Slack Attack.
Okay, I like
But I worked with him. He was the overseer of that over the summer, and so I worked with him on that. And he always put a good amount of pressure on me to make sure I know what I'm doing. I'm doing it correctly. I'm doing it not because he's telling me, because I know that I should be doing it. So
Understood.
So let me follow up on
Yep.
that with a question for that. So the pressure of that is just your supervisor, your manager, making sure you're doing the job well and meeting the expectations. So
Yeah.
not because you're Dan's son. So when there's
No.
when you going to a family business, there is an expectation that you are gonna just be slacking off, right? I mean,
Right.
that's the reality. That, oh, here comes the owner's son. Oh, here comes they're
Right.
dabbling. They're coming here a week or two. They're using our equipment to wash cars. There's a higher level of expectation, unfortunately, whether it's deserved or not, when you come in as somebody's the child of and adult children, whatever it is, of the owner, and they look at you and you have to raise the bar, and it is unfair, but you have to be 120% if everybody else is 100, because you have to not only show what you have to show that you earned that position, and you're not there because of your father, your mother, whoever it is, and that's just the way life works. Whether you're a student in a classroom at a
Right.
school and your parents the teacher or the principal or anything else. And so how do you feel about that? And do you realize that?
Yeah, I definitely realized that. It doesn't bother me that much though.
So
Yeah.
what are you doing though to show and to show people that, hey, I deserve this. I belong here because of the work I'm putting in and the work I'm putting out.
Definitely showing up on time. Admitting to mistakes is definitely a big one. So if I mess up on something, like I didn't do something correctly, I'll tell someone that. Other than that, I don't really know.
Okay.
Okay. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I say that's kind of something I've just known. Like, oh yeah, you're the owner's son. You're gonna get viewed like that. I don't know that I ever see anyone act like they view me like that.
They view you that.
Maybe they do. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not gonna say they don't. But I think a lot of it just comes down to the amount of effort you're putting in. You know, like he said, always showing up on time. That's a big thing for me. And then just trying to make sure I keep learning, I keep improving, I'm doing more. I'm trying to exceed expectations of my managers at all times.
So, I mean, that's an interesting, because I went through that myself,
Yep.
right? I remember my dad had a long tenured employee, and when I was young, he looked at me and goes, "One day when you're my boss, I'm quitting." And I remember, I mean, you just remember those markers. I mean, that was 30 some odd years ago, right, of that. And it was a motivator for me internally to like, I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm not gonna. I don't want them. They're not gonna be right. I want to prove them wrong. I'm gonna show them my worth. And I mean, we have a couple employees that my dad hired that are still work for us. And
Wow.
I've been with us for 30 years, and I've earned their respect. And it's shown. They say it to me quite a bit, but it's shown to me because they stay. But it's interesting for them because they're going to have that same challenge. But we talk a lot about culture and the culture of Silverlake Auto. And I do an owner's statement that I hand out to my executive team, and in there, I talk about the family dynamic and what that's gonna look like, and what that means. Not that it's a predestined position that they're going to have here, but the importance that they get a fair shot, they get invested into, and my staff's responsibility is not just my responsibility, it's my staff's responsibility to pour into them to help them make great. The same way that I poured into them to help elevate them and grow them. So this developing of people around us, I'm very intentional about talking to my staff about my kids and what their responsibility is that also. And I don't want them pulling their punches. I want them to lead hard, to raise the expectations and to challenge them appropriately through our culture so that they can feel what that feels like, so that they can then go do that down the road also.
Just recycle.
Right?
Yep.
That's the culture that we're trying to build, where it just kind of perpetuates and keeps going and going and going. So they're getting exposed to that through the team right now.
Awesome.
Yes, they know that they're
Right.
they're Dan's sons, and there's a little bit different dynamic and
Right.
perspective that's taken there, but they also very clearly know what their responsibility is in their development too. It's not just on one person, it's on all of us to develop everybody.
And I want to take a different perspective to this, because there is a whole different dynamic here, and pressure creates diamonds, right? So that's how diamonds are formed, right? So with that being said, I think
Look at you using a pop culture.
I'm trying to be like you, Kim.
That's not pop culture. That's not pop culture.
That's
No, but it's one of
chemistry.
those
Right.
it's not pop culture, but it's an old saying.
Old saying.
That
Right.
Yeah.
right.
He
So
always gives me.
one thing I want to make sure that's coming across too is I think the pressure needs to be turned up. And here's why, right? This is the same way that employee,
By whom?
not by you.
Okay.
No, you have to be the father in this. That's why you have a whole team set up.
Right.
You should be further removed from the whole situation.
Yes.
Okay, you've already set the foundation. Now you gotta let your team execute. But I think that stigma that you guys are, there's a chip on your shoulder. Whether you like it or not, there's a chip on your shoulder. And I think that pressure is what's going to make you perform and outperform anyone else in the organization that will ever be in any kind of position. And I think this is where we have to figure out how you navigate those pressures. And I think that's where Dan's going to come in, because he's going to be able to help you navigate those pressures as a father, as opposed to your boss.
And a father that went through it himself.
Exactly.
Don't you think it needs to be, that pressure needs to be intrinsic inside of you?
Right. But the only way that's going to happen is if you recognize that chip.
Right.
Right. Otherwise, it's like, hey, it's not entitlement, because they're already working for it. So it's not an entitlement.
It's earning it.
It's earning it, right? And this
There's
is
a certain degree of earning in a. No, I mean, this opportunity would not be
Of
here
course,
without.
which you gotta
it.
recognize
you
that.
You have to recognize that, whether they're working or not.
and that's part of the pressure,
Yeah.
because if you're not recognizing it, you're not going to put that extra 10, 20% that other people aren't. But here's kind of one thing that we got out of another podcast that we did a couple days back with one of our relationship industry experts, and that's intelligence and initiative. Right? Those are the two key things for any employee. Do you feel like you have more initiative or intelligence at the moment?
I think it's initiative right now. I feel very driven to keep improving and keep building on what I've got already.
And what about you?
It's the same.
Okay. What are you trying to put in place to get that intelligence?
I'm I'm going to college right now for
Okay.
accounting so that I can do that in the shop. And then anytime I'm in the shop, it's like I'm doing all these different roles, trying to really understand the whole business as one unit, essentially.
And how are you tying in the initiative to acquire that intelligence?
It just comes through, like when I'm at work, I say, oh, here's this, I can learn from this, I can learn from this, I can go do this and get this experience. And it's just putting myself in as many spots as possible.
And do you see that being as well received with all the peers and everyone that's at the organization?
Yeah, I think they appreciate that I'm willing to go out and do different things for them.
Awesome. And what about you? Do you see the same?
Yeah, so because my plan right now is to go to the same college as Noah for business management and business communications. But when I'm at work, I'm trying to learn. I'm going through all the different positions, which he's putting me through in good order. And any chance I have to learn, I'll definitely be on that.
And that's so refreshing to see, right? Because usually it's people find something that they like and they kind of stick to it, right? So like if you really like being a tech, you're just going to be like, okay, I just want to go in that path. Let me learn as much as I can before being exposed to everything else. So that's so refreshing to see that you guys are trying all these different positions and then figuring out where you want to really hone in on. Now, with that being said, do you see the same thing happening from your end?
Yeah, so I mean they're full-time students right now.
Yes.
So and we have some good boundaries of that. Like, be a student, be a full-time student. They're involved in a lot of extracurriculars and arts and stuff. So go do that stuff. That is also their job right now. So I'll go out and get another job. That's their job. So we want them focusing on that. But during the summer and the breaks that they have, I'm seeing their initiative, but I'm also seeing them reaching for knowledge and learning. Like Noah is working. Last year was tight with growth with cash flow, so Noah was working with Kaizen and our accountants, and he's doing the cash.
That's awesome.
He's doing our cash flow analysis for us right now. So
With AI?
what's that?
I'm just kidding.
They're not great. No, but they're getting exposed. So we're looking for opportunities inside of their strengths where we can expose them to things that we've never done before too. So it's not just okay, we've always done it this way. Like how can they bring and add value in areas differently that we haven't done before? So this summer, Noah's probably gonna be talking to you a lot about AI.
You brought it in this
I know.
time. There we go.
So I want to look at the tech stack stuff and doing some of that stuff and challenge him because he's got a good mathematical mind and he's very good at languages and communication, which is what that is.
Right.
So we're going to look at some opportunities to bring some of that innovation in to have them stretch and bring extra value to that. Where if we bring that curious intelligence, teach some of that curious intelligence into their roles, their initiative is going to take them beyond. And now everybody else will start seeing, well, this could be cool for the future. My staff can see that. So I see it happening. I mean, I have a lot of that kind of mapped out in my head, and it hasn't really come out yet in what that looks like. And we go for long car rides and we talk about the future, and some of that stuff comes out in the car rides. But yeah, it's balancing being the visionary, but being the dad, and building the bumpers around that.
But how wonderful that you have a layer which you didn't have with your dad. You and Darren.
No,
and
he was my boss.
Growing up when the same time I did, you got a smack on the back of the head. And what are you, stupid? It's how we got trained right with things. So how wonderful you don't have. But I have a question for both of you. What is the main position you've done at Silverlake that you think you've done the best job at?
I mean.
And you're next, so start thinking.
I was probably either as assistant technician or cleaning cars.
Okay, so we'll use assistant technician because you said that first. Do you think that you could tomorrow go and apply to one of our top shops and MSOs for that position and get hired and be successful?
No.
Okay. What about you?
I think it's the stuff I spent last summer was it was a mix of learning for service advising and the concierge work, so a lot of customer relations.
Okay, we'll go with service advisor. So do you think that if I took you down for an interview and nobody knew you were Dan's son,
which is hard to do because
to one of our
my goodness,
for one of our top shops and said, hey, I have a kid who wants to get in the industry, and you interviewed with them, do you think they'd hire you?
I think I could probably pull it off.
Yeah.
I need a lot of training, but I think I could get hired as like a prospective thing.
Okay.
Well, I think this shows the 2-year age gap.
But Luke he's got some
go ahead, Luke.
follow-up.
Well, I think that's part of the thing is that since we're moving to all the different positions, I'm not really getting like exceptionally good at one, but I'm learning them, like the basis of them. So I don't know if I can get hired right now for one.
Okay.
I think what you're also seeing out of them is their humility.
Right.
Right? Because, I mean, we've hired a lot of people. I mean, we've hired people like him to come in and shop and be successful. So one of the things that these boys I'm most proud about is their humility and how they approach stuff. They don't come in with this arrogance, conceited arrogance and cocky that, yeah, of course I can do that. They come in there,
Willing to learn.
humble, willing to learn, and that you can't. How do you teach that?
You can't.
Right. So that'll help propel them.
I agree.
So what information do you wish you had that the organization have not given you yet?
How are they supposed to answer that when they don't
Yes,
know?
I would say I guess my.
How many times you're like, I wish my dad would tell me this, or I wish my dad would let me know what the hell's in his head.
In broad terms, I don't know a ton about how like cars themselves actually work.
Okay.
So I think anything related to that is a huge gap in my knowledge that I'm going to need to work on and get improved. And that's something like with service advising, I felt myself grow a lot with that. Just seeing the inspections going, oh, this is this part, this is what this does. So I think that would be
You know what will help with that tremendously?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Go ahead. What about you?
I would definitely like to see more of the managerial side and do some shadowing with the people that are doing that right now.
Okay.
I did some shadowing of Jacob Henner in the shop, but I want to see more of the business side managing.
Right. I mean, this is phenomenal, right? I mean,
It is.
we're unlocking so many layers, and I think that the best part I've seen here is you have not jumped in, and that's very refreshing to see.
This is my executive coaching.
Well, he has jumped in a couple of times to say how wonderful
right.
they were.
And that jumping in
This is
is
the executive coaching.
Right.
It is.
I
All right.
speak
Oh, look
understanding,
at
yeah.
that. Look at that.
But that jumping in is
It is
very
really
valid, right? That's the kind of jumping in we need
It
more
is
of.
very valid, but it's a thing to be thinking about, right? So the awareness for the two of you is you have that expectation of everybody's looking at you to do better. Your dad is always going to be your dad, and he
Right.
is going to protect you to no end. And the two of you, this is going to be on you to make sure that he doesn't have to be doing that, right? That
Yeah.
that he
Yeah.
doesn't have to, because he's never going to stop being your dad first.
Right.
He is never. The two of you are, there
Right.
are no words to describe what you mean to him.
Right.
And so he will, as a default, want to make things easier for you, want to make things better for you. And your job is to say, Dad, we got this.
And to be fair, you guys are phenomenal.
Absolutely
Like-
amazing.
No,
yeah,
I mean,
amazing.
Because you usually don't get this kind of.
No, they
It's
come
their
in,
mom.
they're
And I was
coffee.
about to bring that up. I was about to bring that up too.
She won't come on the camera.
I know.
You spoke about humility, and we see all day
Right.
long, and we deal with shop owners. And we have to coach them through, and the
Yep.
kids come in like this is their birthright,
Yep.
and the world owes them, and everybody owes them because of it. And so it is so refreshing and so amazing to see. And I'm so excited to see what the
Yeah.
two of you are going to bring, and not only to Silverlake, but I mean for the automotive industry, right?
Right.
Because you have a great outlook,
Exactly.
and you're going to do things and getting education and thinking
Exposure.
about what can you do. And we need that. We need young people that want to have a little bit different lens and to help raise the bar of what we do. So
Right.
I thank you both very much. I'm very disappointed you wouldn't sing for us, but I'm going to get a link in there. And I know your dad mentioned your brother's good with math, but I know you have to have mathematical stuff because you're in music, and there's just no music without math. So
No.
there's that too for it. So thank you so much. Is there anything you want to say to our viewers or audience that they're thinking about, whether it's the adult children wanting to join a family business or the dad that owns the family business? What do you want to say to them?
I think it's just really important to acknowledge how much we start with in this position from the work that Dad's put in before. And I think it's important to really give back in that, not squander this opportunity that we have for anyone who gets this opportunity like we do.
I think it's great to start early and get going as soon as you can to start knowing all the different sides of the business and getting deeper into them.
That's wise words from both of you
They're
guys.
smarter than me. What do you have to say?
Well,
We're only 10 minutes over, so what
Yeah,
the heck's
that's
that
okay.
for you?
you know, I've experienced kind of
Both
one
ends.
side. I'm getting exposed to the second end of it. So, and I've watched people like Paul Campanella and Anthony Campanella and some of those others that have pioneered and watched how well they've done that. So I would say any parent that's thinking about this, surround yourself with people who've gone through and done it successfully, even some of those who have challenged with it that maybe haven't gone through it. But if anybody's thinking about the second generation, third generation, boy, and if they're even into the fourth generation, I'd love to talk to them and learn from them too. So, you know, a lot of us are looking at how do we build family legacy businesses right now, and Nielsen's are going through it too. And it's an interesting dynamic because there's a lot at stake at this, right? Not just the business, but the family and everything else that balances in on it. So it's refreshing. It's kind of fun to kind of be in it with it. I know Ricky Jordan's going to be talking about it, getting into it. You know, I'm a little ahead of him on that, but there's a lot of us that are kind of looking at that family legacy business model and how do we do it well, and love to just continue having conversations with people who are thinking about that.
Thank you,
Right.
Jason.
My biggest thing is one of the key players in all of this is not sitting at the table. She's sitting over there. And I think that's very important to acknowledge. It's not necessarily just the people that are at the table that are already in the actual day-to-day stuff in growing the business and whatnot. It's also all of the external factors that go into this. And it's one thing that I like to say is, you know, pressure is good. You just have to know how to manage it, right? And even if it's over pressure, you can still find a way to release the pressure. You just have to figure out what those avenues are. You guys are still very relatively young. You're going through all this, trying to figure things out. You're not just learning about the business, you're learning about life in general. And you guys have some very good influences around you. But I still encourage you guys to try new things and keep looking at what's next. And I think that's going to be the milestone here that's going to really take you guys to the whole next level.
And we probably can do an entirely separate episode on family boundaries and
Right.
things. But I just want to remind everybody that your family comes first, and you're a parent first. You're a son or a daughter first. You're a mom first. You're a dad
Right.
first. The business is whatever, and it's wonderful to have a legacy, but don't let that get in the way. We've seen so many families ruined and people
Right.
not talking, and all of, you know, it's nonsense. It just remember what your role is as a parent is to care for your children, to nurture them, to be a great example. You know, Dan's doing that, and for their children as well. You have one mother, you have one father.
Right.
That's all you get. Love them or not, that's what you have, whether they're great or not. And
Right.
family has to come first. So if you don't have boundaries set up, and I'm sure you guys all do, try and don't bring stuff home, do set up things. We actually should do a podcast
agree.
about that, of how do you keep that separate. But it breaks my heart when I see wonderful families that
Right.
start to fracture because they let stupid business SOPs or
Right.
you came in late today or whatever, you know,
Right.
hold that line. So thank you so much. And I just cannot wait to see what the two of you accomplish. You're just dynamic young men, and your parents,
Right.
I see why they're so proud and all of that. So thank you for joining us.